Herniated discs in the lower back can cause a tremendous amount of back pain, hip pain, and sciatica going down the leg. And it's understandable that when you're struggling like this, you want to do stretches that try and alleviate some of the pain. They try and make it feel a little bit better. Hugging your knees, curling the back round, and flattening that lumbar spine are mistakes that so many people make, which is why today's video, we're going to demonstrate two alternative stretches that really work because we've tried them in thousands of members and patients over the years. They're safe, they're effective, and they're going to help not only in the short term alleviate some of the pressure and tension on that disc in the lower back, but also for the long term, they're absolutely fantastic spine health exercises. If you're new here, I'm Michael Fatica, the lead osteopath and spine specialist here at Back in Shape, and we help people around the UK and all over the world fix their back pain from home and get back in shape for the long term. And today we're going to get stuck straight into demonstrating behind me these two awesome stretches that you can do if you've got a herniated disc, an L4-5 or L5-S1 in the lower back. Those last two segments in our lumbar spine. This very first stretch we're going to do is going to be on the bed. It's a great way of us creating a pumping effect. Now, this is not dissimilar to the sorts of treatments that we do behind that wall, the IDD, spinal decompression, a mechanism of in a targeted way, taking pressure off those discs and creating this pumping effect. You're going to do it with your arms on the bed, as we'll demonstrate now. Ideally, what we're going to be doing for the bed decompression stretch is lying off the end of the bed. And it's better than lying across the bed, especially if you've got a narrow bed. And I'll get to that a little bit later on. But please make sure if you've got more stenosis in your lower back, if you've got more degenerative change, and if you've got more severe sciatica, how you get onto the bed will make a big difference and how you get off again. So you need to be careful because as you go to get into position, you dropping yourself down in a cobra position can potentially aggravate you. So you'll need to be a little bit more careful. Maybe pop yourself onto your side first and foremost and roll over much, much slower than I'm doing here. But once you're in position, which needs to be something like this here, so you're lying kind of near the edge of the bed, we want to think about our armpits, and they're going to hang over the edge of the bed here. This is where certain of you who are tall enough or short enough for the right length will be able to hook your toes in on the edge of the bed to get a little bit extra stretch. But what we're going to do is we're going to place our arms over the edge of the bed, and it is the pressure of my elbows going back towards the side of the bed that is going to create this nice little stretch. Now, your bedding will have more friction than this table has on me. I'm sliding a little bit, but you can see how, as I press down with my arms, my body gets a nice little stretch going through it. And that stretch is going to decompress down here at the lower back. And if you really relax as you're doing it, relax your whole lower body, your whole torso, and just use these arms to gently press in. Really think about, in particular, relaxing your glutes because that helps you let everything go. And then as you press in, you can get a nice little stretch. You press in and you hold it for around about 3 to 5 seconds and then relax again. And then you press in again and hold it for 3 to 5 seconds and relax again. And you might do around about 5, 10, 15 of these reps over the course of 20, 30 seconds, maybe a bit longer. Now, it's very important that you understand, after you've done this, you'll have decompressed this section down here in the lower back, and it will feel a little bit more wobbly, right? That's important. And like I mentioned with the pre-warning, the post-warning is once you've finished, don't get up like I just did there. I don't have a full bed here, so it's more difficult for me to take my time. But, just back off, roll onto your side, give yourself maybe a minute or so to relax. You could always get onto the next stretch, which we'll talk about in a moment. But this is an absolutely fantastic stretch. And the reason being, because we're able to put the spine in a neutral position and take some pressure off. Now, if we have a look at what's happening as we're doing this stretch, we're creating this pull that way of the torso and our pelvis and our legs, because of the friction on the bed, is going to hold in place. So it makes it very, very gentle when we compare to, say, hanging off a bar like it's just over there on the squat rack. You've got a lot more control over taking the pressure off and putting back on again, which is really, really important. Now, the reason that some of you, like I mentioned, might experience a little bit of discomfort getting into and out of the position is because you'll be doing an arch as you get back down, doing that reverse cobra to get into position. I've already said be careful of that. But one of the things that some of you might think, oh, well, maybe I could put a pillow underneath my pelvis here to put a posterior pelvic tuck through. And I would urge against that if you can at all help it. And the reason for that is that is, again, going against the principles of a neutral spine, like those pelvic tucks that you've been doing, like those knee hooks you've been doing. That being said, for some of you, it might be a necessary transition, but you should always be working towards being able to do it lying flat. Another great tip when you're doing this, for those of you that have particularly tight hip flexors, that will unfortunately pull your pelvis into a bit of extension, and it might make it a little bit uncomfortable getting into the position. So for you guys, doing a simple hip flexor stretch, something like, getting down nice and carefully with a neutral spine. We've got other videos that talk about this, and just going into that stretched position without arching your back, obviously, before you get into doing the bed decompression can also help just ease the transition into the position to do the effective stretching. This stretch is all about supporting that natural lordosis. This stretch here is going to take the pressure off the discs, which by supporting the natural curve in the lower back, just like so, as we lie over this towel, which I will demonstrate for you guys in a moment how to do it, etc. But it's also supporting this natural curve and taking pressure off the ligaments on the back of the spine and the muscles on the back of the spine. They often feel tense because they're stretched all day because we're sitting down for too long. And not to mention the fact that because of this herniated disc or damaged disc down in the lower lumbar spine, those structures are weaker. And actually lying over the towel and just supporting and resting in this position with a gentle bit of stretch can really make all the difference. And you're going to ideally want to do this on the floor, but for some of you, when you start out, you will find that it actually, just the process of you getting onto the floor is too difficult. So by all means, do this after the other stretch on the bed first. And as the days and weeks go by, you can progress on to getting onto the floor safely. So when we're doing the towel stretch, we want the towel to be rolled up around about the size of a foam roller. Now, for some of you, you might want to use a slightly larger towel. For some of you, it'll be necessary to use a slightly smaller towel. And that's something you've got to experiment with. I will say that to the degree you've got a more severe disc herniation or more degenerative change or more stenosis down here in the lower back, you will find this a little bit uncomfortable. The simple truth is you've been like this, sat down for long periods of time. We're talking about often months, if not years, and actually restoring some of that natural, normal, healthy spine alignment like we do when we use the towel can be a little bit achy and a little bit uncomfortable. It's very, very common for a significant number of people to find this uncomfortable to begin with. But once you get better at it and as your back starts to heal, it will be a really good one that you absolutely look forward to doing every single day. So what we're going to do is we're going to get ourselves onto the floor. Obviously do this safely. If you're doing it on the bed, then you can do it there as well. But think about getting yourself down here in a way that doesn't involve you rounding your back all over the place. We have our towel already rolled. That's by the side. We're going to engage our spine and we're going to simply slide the towel in to that lower back, small of the back area, and then drop ourselves back over. Now we can check this here by finding the bony bits on the front of the hips, about where my belt finishes, coming just underneath us and pressing down. It should feel like we're kind of arching the back a little bit or supporting the arch. It is not, I repeat, it is not down here on the sacrum, in which case you can see that actually helps you do a pelvic tuck, which is a massive mistake and something you really need to avoid. So we've got the towel in the right place, and now it's simply a case of just relaxing into this position for the time being. Some of you will find that having straight legs is going to be nice, but that's definitely a more advanced one for once you're comfortable being in this position. Some of you will just want to avoid that. It's not necessary. And I think by and large, 90+% of people just relax in this position and don't feel the need to straighten their legs. We're going to be doing this and relaxing in this position from anywhere from 20 seconds to 3 to 5 minutes at a time. Once we've finished, it's very, very important that we do not twist to get off the machine or off the towel, or we lift our bum to pull it out. Do not do that. Avoid that at all costs. You'll be able to do it without any significant damage, but it can sometimes catch things and just results in unnecessary aggravation and pain, and ultimately puts you off doing something that actually is a really good, healthy exercise. So instead of twisting or anything like that, when the time comes, we're going to lock our legs together really tight. We're going to lock our core in really tight, and we're going to use our feet and a bit of momentum from the upper body to just tip ourselves off to the side without twisting. And now you're going to stay here. You can maybe reach behind, grab the towel, put it here to support your head, or have a pillow handy, and just relax here for a few moments before getting up again, getting up nice and safely. And that's something, you might have some things around to lean on, but again, try and avoid rounding the lower back after you've done this. So we've got the two stretches. We've got the bed decompression, which we're going to lie on our front. We're going to do these pumps, holding each pump for around about 5 seconds, relaxing for 5 seconds, doing somewhere in the ballpark of 30 seconds to a minute, 2 minutes worth of stretches, obviously being careful getting in and out of the position. We've then got the towel stretch, which we can do anywhere from 20 seconds up to around about 5 minutes. Most people doing around about 3 to 5 minutes. Again, getting on and getting off that position in a careful way, not rounding our lower back. These decompression stretches are so much more helpful than any of the other things that we mentioned at the start of this video for helping that disc undergo the healing process, taking pressure off it in a way that addresses or adheres to the principles of a neutral spine, the position that your spine is trying to heal in, those discs are trying to heal in. And this makes up a small part of a great back pain relief routine that we've got. There'll be a link down in the description that you can check it out. There's a video on the website that you can literally press play and follow along with this all in time once you've had a play around with these individual stretches to make sure that you're confident and comfortable doing them. But it doesn't stop there. Relief-based work, the things that you do to alleviate the symptoms, alleviate the pain, are one small part of the recovery, but they do not do anything to help you really rebuild and rehabilitate that back, that spine, and that injured disc for the long term. And you'll find that if you end up relying, like you might have been doing so far, on exercises and stretches to relieve the pain, you're going to be going in circles, finding that maybe it goes away for a little bit, but then it keeps coming back for silly little reasons because you've never properly dealt with the problem. You've only got to a point where things have kind of settled down and you're just waiting for the next flare up. That's why the only way to get a long-term fix for your herniated disc is to really undergo a proper rehabilitative strength-based program. That is starting with the most basic of exercises that teach you how to control your spine and prevent it from moving in erroneous ways, which have transferable benefits to your daily life. Those silly little things that have been flaring up your back, are irritating that disc so far, can start to happen less and less frequently. It also includes exercises like the squats and the hip hinges, which are replications of daily activities like getting out of a chair and like washing the dishes or washing your face in the morning, because you need to learn those and how to do them effectively without compromising that disc that's trying to heal. These are the sorts of things that we help members of the Back in Shape program with in part of our community. You can always check that out on the website, backinshapeprogram.com. There'll be a link down in the description. The rehab work is the real secret to getting these discs healed for the long term. And that's why we've got an extensive library as part of the Back in Shape program, which you can check out on the website, backinshapeprogram.com. There again will be a link down in the description. But we've also got tons of freely available videos on the YouTube channel, videos on the website with detailed 1,000 to 5,000 word articles to help you understand this and how to do these various exercises, how to break them down and build them up so you can start to take charge and get recovery well underway with your herniated disc. If you made it this far through the video, thanks so much for watching. I hope you found this helpful. I hope you've had a chance to get stuck into some of those simple stretches because they are so powerful. We know this from too many members over the years. They are vital exercises for you to do to help that herniated disc. And hopefully after this video, you can check out some of the other resources we've got to really start to take charge of that rehab process and do what's necessary to rebuild health and well-being back into your lower back again. If you know someone else that's struggling with their herniated disc, then consider sharing this video with them. And we look forward to seeing you in the next video. Thanks for watching.